aside from the themes changing. So what changes? The daylight increasing to the darkness increasing. That's opposite. Daylight is greater, darkness is greater. They're opposite at the same time in the southern hemisphere, northern hemisphere. Spring, summer, fall, winter goes fall, spring, winter, spring, summer. They're opposite. But when you get to cardinal, fixed, mutable, they're the same. Stays the same. Aries, Libra, still cardinal. When you get fire, air, water, earth, fire will change to air. Air will change to fire. Water will change to earth. Earth. So the masculine and feminine it stays masculine or feminine. Which in observing, they're still reflective or projective. This is our main core of how people interpret astrology. It's easy to see the cardinal and the masculine and feminine nature of the signs, regardless of whether you add other qualities to it, whether you put it to nature or not. Then you have the rulerships. But the rulerships, in terms of interpreting a chart, really shift things. Now, so basic thing. To be happy, you got to be the sign you're in. One of my first Southern Hemisphere charts, not my first, but one of the first big ones I had to do was, this young man was up here studying at Ryerson to be a radio technology. He's in his 4th year, he's finishing. He's becoming manic depressive, he's unhappy. He's doing it because his mom paid for it and sent him up here to get the education. He really just wanted to be a carpenter. He was a Capricorn, he just wanted to be a carpenter. He didn't want to be the media person. But his mom paid for it, so he felt he was obliged to. He's making himself sicker and sicker and sicker. Trying to be somebody he's not. Well, that can happen, doesn't have to be. But that's where I realized you have to be the sign you're in. It makes a big difference. With the right rulerships, when it's in tune, like an instrument in tune, has a magic to it. Just has something different when it's out of tune. So, okay, that's the main thing. So, also, we're going to go more into this, but just the impulses of the southern hemisphere Aries is going to affect the Libra part of your chart. So they might seem like they're affecting Libra, but they're doing it in the Aries way. So it's Aries for them, it's Libra for you. So if they don't stop being the Aries, they're born in springtime. They don't stop being that Aries just because they come in the northern hemisphere. But when they're meeting someone that's in the northern hemisphere, the other chart, the normal northern hemisphere chart that would be used would be, you can compare to see how they're affecting you. But you can't see how you affect them by the 2 northern hemisphere charts. You have to do 2 southern hemisphere charts to see how they affect. You can see how they affect you, you affect them. We'll do this. So the outer planets are in different signs. That's the most outstanding thing. Pluto in Leo versus Pluto in Aquarius. Pluto in Virgo. Pluto-Uranus conjunct in Virgo versus Pluto-Uranus conjunct in Pisces. Or Uranus-Pluto square. Pluto in Libra to Cancer. Very different than the Capricorn and Aries. Everybody's writing about Capricorn and Aries. But it's both at the same time. The opposites are at the same time. So Pluto's in Capricorn, so you got all the government controls, all the nasty politics. But food is getting expensive. It's attacking food. So sometimes maybe more about food. With probably what's happening. Where's Monsanto? Who knows? Like controls are going to. So I don't want to get into all the politics of it, but just the outer planets and the attitudes. Those attitudes to social factors, to the fear factors of Pluto, to the belief or the fantasy factors of Neptune, or the social consciousness of it, or the excitement or shocks of Uranus, are going to be polarized differently from southern hemisphere to northern hemisphere. Not their sun or moon side. They're different, but it's going to be a summer person's a summer person. But these other planets, they're higher frequency, that are really different. So part of this question is, if you ask, planets are in the same houses, planets stay in the same aspects. So if you have an aspect between 2 planets, you can say, oh, that's just stress there. But really, if you have the 2 planets, you could ignore the aspect. If you're doing the moon in Scorpio properly, you do Scorpio as best as you can, and your sun's in Taurus, you're going to do sun in Taurus as best you can, or the sun in Leo as best you can. They have a natural inherent square, but you're still supposed to be the Leo and the Scorpio and be making as best as you can regardless of the aspect. It'll just naturally happen, just a stress factor that's there. So we tend to judge too much by aspects and not see enough. Do the signs color the aspects? Of course they do. A square from Capricorn is very different than a square from Gemini. different textures. Okay, physical example. Okay. Muscles, okay. Muscles is Mars. Bones are Saturn. All life is a mixture of muscles and bones. You push too hard, you break bones. If your bones are too heavy, you get weak and you don't do anything. So, muscles and bones. Jupiter is the understanding to coordinate this and know how to use it. To understand the repercussions. Boy, if I'm going to do this, I better be prepared. So Jupiter understands the implications, then it can guide the Mars properly. If Jupiter doesn't understand properly, you get misguided actions, wrong relationship to authority, and things get all messed up. So that Mars, Jupiter, Saturn triad. So I just chose that as an example because now I've got to put it to some understanding use. Okay? So if I'm in the northern hemisphere, you're in the southern hemisphere. I'm looking south to look at the sun. You're looking north to look at the sun. The sun's rising in the east, my left. You're right. It comes up, it's overhead. I'm looking south to see it, you're looking north to see it. It sets on my right. It's on your left. Is that a difference? It's the same sun just coming up. Change. Okay, clockwise or counterclockwise spiral. So, if you want to experience this, I don't know if it's worth doing this or not, but just if you took, so it's coming in the northern hemisphere, so I'm moving like this. There's one cycle, I'm moving like this. So if everybody's moving the same way, we're all moving the same way, whirling dervishes, like there we go. But if you're moving one way, in the southern hemisphere, you're all whirling the other way. But if you're doing it together, one person's running this way and the other person's spiraling the other way, it's going the opposite way at the same time. Different energy. Now, what's normal for you is what you're looking from. You're coming from your experience, your being, your nature. That's normal to you. For kids today, nature is the parks. It's not like the beaches and the mountains like we used to have it. It's not the same thing. That's normal for them. It's changed. What's normal for the kids 50 years from now will be different. They'll start from where they start from. And to me, I see great sorrow. A lot of people, we're just doing what we're doing. But this process of seeing these cycles, the Earth's turning this way in the northern hemisphere. This is counterclockwise in the northern hemisphere, so you looking in the southern hemisphere, it's going clockwise. Okay. When I first realized that, I wondered if the clocks turned the other way in the southern hemisphere. Or if they celebrated Christmas in June, at the greatest darkness, the greatest receptivity. Again, northern holidays. So, the Earth's turning this way, the planets are moving up the other way. Because the Earth's turning this way, the sun is coming up and the planets move up this way. So that's clockwise in the northern hemisphere, that's counterclockwise in the southern hemisphere. So if you're trying to say, okay, here's the circle, here's these two circles, and you try and turn around and try and do it, it's a little strange because you're really reversing, shifting. You're stirring the water in the pot one way and then suddenly you switch it the other way, it's going to splash. No, but this experiential being able to see it. Earth's turning this way, planets are coming up this way. But in the zodiac, the planets are moving this way. They're moving the same way the Earth's turning in the zodiac. Two different cycles. Here's the Earth turning. There's a planet moving around like that. But each day it's coming up the other way. Okay. How are we doing for time?
You can take a break around 3.
What time is it now?
Your call. 20 minutes.
Okay, good. So